Have you ever wondered why some of the smartest people you know never seem to make it? They have the grades, the degrees, the logic, yet their lives feel stuck. And meanwhile, someone far less gifted, the guy who barely finished school, somehow builds a business, buys a house, and lives freely. It feels unfair, but it isn't luck. It's psychology. Today, we'll explore why intelligence, the very thing we value most, can become a trap, and why average people often rise further, not because they're smarter, but because they think differently. We grow up believing that intelligence is the ultimate key to success. From childhood, constant comparisons and societal pressures shape the way we measure ourselves, teaching that grades define our worth and every small achievement becomes a test of identity. Good grades lead to good schools lead to good jobs, and that, we're told, leads to happiness and wealth. But research tells a different story. Studies from Stanford and the University of London show that IQ correlates with income only up to a point, roughly the middle class. Beyond that, intelligence alone stops being a predictor. Why? Because life isn't an exam. Success in the real world isn't about solving equations. It's about solving yourself. And here's the paradox. The smarter you are, the more ways your brain can convince you not to take action. You see all the risks. You analyze every possibility. You plan and never move. The mind that was trained to be perfect becomes paralyzed. Intelligence sharpens awareness, but awareness without control leads to fear. High IQ often comes with relentless internal dialogues, weighing every decision, imagining judgments, and predicting reactions before action is even taken. Smart people often live inside their own simulations. Before they even try something, they imagine all the ways it could go wrong. They want the perfect plan, the perfect time, the perfect version of themselves before they start, and so they never start. In psychology, this is called analysis paralysis, when thinking replaces doing. It feels productive, but it's not. Meanwhile, the so-called average person just tries. They fail fast, they learn, they adapt. Mistakes become lessons, risks become experience, and small wins compound into real growth without overthinking every possible outcome. Smart people are used to winning. From a young age, they're rewarded for being right. Every A+, every compliment builds an identity around competence. Reinforced praise creates invisible pressure, making mistakes feel like public exposure and shaking confidence before action even begins. So when they face something uncertain, a business, a creative project, an investment, the idea of failing isn't just uncomfortable, it's identity-threatening. Failure feels like proof that they're not who they thought they were. So they avoid it. They stay safe. Meanwhile, the average person stumbles, learns, adjusts, and grows, gaining experience while fear keeps the gifted frozen. But here's the catch. Growth only happens through failure. As psychologist Carol Dweck discovered, people with a fixed mindset, who tie their worth to being smart, avoid challenges. Those with a growth mindset who value learning seek them out. And over time, that difference compounds. Average people with growth mindsets outlearn, outgrow, and eventually outperform the naturally gifted. So what do average people have that the smartest often lack? Not genius, not talent. Consistency and patience quietly shape their days, turning small actions into steady growth that genius alone rarely achieves. But something far rarer, emotional resilience. They're used to things not going perfectly. They've learned to be okay with discomfort. When things go wrong, as they always do, they don't overanalyze. They adapt. While the intellectual searches for certainty, the practical person searches for progress. And progress compounds. 1% better each day, one risk taken, one lesson learned. They embrace failure as a teacher, not a verdict, and build confidence in small wins, that eventually outshine brilliance without action. That's how ordinary people build extraordinary results. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times before building Ford Motors. And Steve Jobs, fired from his own company, used failure as fuel for his greatest comeback. None of them were trying to be perfect. They were trying to learn faster than they broke. The smarter people are, the better they are at rationalizing their own fears. They replay scenarios endlessly, predict every worst case, and convince themselves safety equals wisdom, unknowingly building barriers that keep potential trapped. They use logic to justify inaction. I'll start when I've saved more. I just need to learn a bit more. It's too risky right now. Every statement sounds intelligent. But underneath, it's just fear wearing a suit. Meanwhile, the average risk-taker doesn't overthink it. They make mistakes, but they also make moves. Because action, even imperfect action, creates feedback. And feedback is how humans evolve. Modern psychology confirms it. Emotional intelligence predicts long-term success more reliably than IQ. Those who understand feelings, both theirs and others, navigate challenges, build trust, influence effectively, and recover quickly from setbacks, gaining consistent advantage over pure intellect. EQ is the ability to manage your emotions, to delay gratification, to stay calm under stress. It's not about knowing what's right. It's about doing what's right when everything feels wrong. That's the real differentiator. In business, in relationships, in life. Because decisions aren't made in spreadsheets. They're made in the nervous system. So what can you do if you're the smart one who's stuck? Stop treating life like a test. Treat it like an experiment. You don't need perfect answers. You need data. Data comes from trying. Let go of being right. Focus on being real. Replace perfection with progress. Replace fear with curiosity. And remember, the people you admire weren't born certain. They acted before they were ready. That's not stupidity. That's courage. And in the long run, courage beats cleverness every single time. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who overthinks. Sometimes, the smartest thing you can do is simply to begin.